Well, we got a few more people trickling in, but I think we're ready to begin. We have an awesome guest today. I'm the MC Pico Pie, and if you haven't heard of me, look to the person on your left and the person on your right and know that they haven't either, so that's okay. So without further ado, we have the writer, someone who's been with Lauren Faust at the beginning, wrote for seasons 1, 2, and 4, four-time Emmy-nominated Amy Keating-Rogers. Now, before we begin, Amy has been tweeting a lot about both the lizard that's been in her car and the fact that she hasn't been able to pick up a copy of the show Elements of Harmony book. And so, as thanks from Everfree and all the fan fiction writers who have the lovely privilege of trying to write for Zecora after you, we would like to present to you your very own copy.
Thank you very much. This is beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Lovely, thank you.
Absolutely. Now, you have been with the show at the beginning, and you've been, what, dozens of shows you've written on at this point, or just 1 dozen, or?
Yeah, as far as just cartoons that I've written on?
Yeah.
Yeah, probably, a good dozen.
A good dozen?
Would be my guess.
And I'm curious, because different shows have different layouts.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the questions I had was, with a 26-episode series for something like Friendship is Magic, a bunch of independent authors write episodes, and then you submit them, and hopefully along the way they get approved. But about how many episodes are pointed at the direction of Hasbro and the studio before they get?
Well, what we do actually is we have. At the beginning, Lauren had come up with a bunch of episode ideas to start and pitched them to the network. Then she gathered the writers together, and we kind of just spitballed a bunch of ideas together. And then she and Robert and Zeddy took those ideas and kind of fleshed them out even more and presented them to Hasbro and the Hub. And they picked which ones worked and which ones didn't, and we wrote a bunch of episodes. And then kind of halfway through the season, we had to say, okay, we're about halfway through the season now, but we need more episodes. And so we had another big writers meeting and came up with more episodes and kind of figured out how the rest of that season was going to go. When season 2 began, we had another big group summit and came up with other things. So, it's just coming and spitballing ideas and just throwing stuff out there. And you just kind of, you end up having little meetings like that throughout the season to try and kind of throw stuff out there and present it to Hasbro and see what sticks.
Awesome. Is it ever awkward when you have a story turned down? Because I assume everything doesn't go perfect, and so right. You end up having to turn something down. I know the Pinky Piggy Pie song was initially going to be in one of the earlier episodes, and they came back and put it in an episode later on. So does that happen a lot, and how do they keep track of the stuff that they want but weren't able to include? Well,
episodes get turned down all the time, and you don't take it personally. It's just, that's kind of just what happens. You hope that one of your ideas gets approved, but if it doesn't, it doesn't. With the Pinky song, that was supposed to be in the Best Night Ever. And I thought it was going to be in the Best Night Ever, and that episode ended up being so long, it got cut. And, that's another thing that happens, and you don't fret about it. And then I was watching Charlotte's episode where Pinky takes care of the Cake Twins, and I hear this song that is about, her singing this piggy dance thing. And I was like, gosh, those lyrics are really familiar. And I was like, what are the chances that Charlotte wrote a song so similar to the song that I wrote? And I honestly thought she did. And so I went and I looked at my lyrics. I'm like, no, those actually are my lyrics. and so I wrote to Charlotte and I said, hey, Charlotte, did you write this? Because it's exactly like my lyrics. She's like, no, I had no idea that they put that in there. And so, yeah, they actually had, it was supposed to be in The Best Night Ever, and they had put music to it and all that stuff. They had to cut it. And then in Charlotte's, they needed a song, and so they just kind of plopped that in there. And that was, I didn't find that out until I was watching the episode, so that was just a total surprise.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you wrote one of my favorite episodes, which was Bridal Gossip. And I have a different view on that, and I have a BA in psychology, and the thing that I appreciate about both the show and specifically that episode is it's very true to the message of, not being prejudiced, or if you have something to look past it, to give people a chance. And that's something that, honestly, most modern cartoons kind of disappoint me with, is, hey, yeah, we're being really cool about this, and then, there's some stuff that slips in that is kind of counterproductive. But so how did you go about writing that episode and keeping it not hypocritical?
I mean, that was one of Lauren's early ideas. Originally, Zecora was supposed to be in the first episode, in the pilot episode, and the ponies were supposed to go to Zecora and get information about the elements of harmony. And that ended up getting cut early on, just because Lauren didn't have time for that. So then she had this idea that if there was a zebra if Zecora was in the Everfree forest, and that if all the ponies were totally, they're freaked out by the Everfree forest to begin with, and then to be freaked out by a zebra because a zebra is different than them. And we just approached it, what, somebody who's not like them, and just being, really honest about it. And I think the fact that you have Pinkie Pie, who sings a song about it and brings humor to it, I think that helps it. It helps kind of lighten the whole situation of this prejudice that they all have. And then I think...
And they can relate to it. I mean, they can relate to the song, especially children, when they see song and dance about how they feel. I mean, that's
right.
a great medium, so...
Yeah, and then you have Apple Bloom, the youngest one, saying, I'm not scared of this, and going for it, and going and being bold, and going into the Everfree forest, and doing, being braver than the big ponies, and all of that. So I think it's just, just trying to be honest and true about how people deal with these things, and making up things in their heads about people.
Awesome. You work with a lot of the people that you've worked through over the years. I mean, Lauren brought you in, and you were the head writer for Powerpuff Girls,
right.
For 4 Emmy nominations, correct? Sorry. So what's it like when you get on a project and you're like, oh, hey, look, it's so-and-so, or, maybe someone you get along with, but it's not quite the same, or, someone was your boss and now you're their boss, or the other way around. I mean, is it...
It just kind of, that's just what happens, that you just end up changing positions, and sometimes, somebody becomes your director, becomes your head writer or whatever, and you're working under them, and I was head writer of Care Bears, and Cindy was one of my writers, and Charlotte wasn't one of my writers, but Corey Powell was one of my writers. And then right now, Charlotte is one of the story editors for Ben 10 Omniverse, and she asked me to write a script for her. So I wrote for Charlotte, and I wanted Charlotte to actually write a Care Bears script for me, and that's just kind of what happens. Cindy could just as easily become head writer of a show, and she would ask me to write for something, and you just kind of, that's just the way things kind of juggle, and it's nice because you get to go work with your friends, and it doesn't matter who's in, what position or anything.
And you left for season 3 of My Little Pony, but you're back season 4, right?
Yeah, and everybody phrases it as I left, but it's not that I left, it's that season 2 ended, and then you go, I need a job. And then Care Bears came calling and said, hey, do you want to be story editor for Care Bears? And I said yes. And then, so I was busy story editing that, and then Pony began season 3. So it's it's a matter of what the timeline is. So it's not a matter of I didn't, it's a matter of I was busy doing this and then Pony started up, and so it's kind of.
And are you still working on Care Bears?
Care Bears is done. Yeah, they had their first season. I don't know if they're going to have a second season, and if they do, I would, happily work for them again. And I would, because they've had a first season and kind of you figure out all sorts of stuff in a first season. I would do my best to work on both shows, if I could, if I was asked to do that. But yes, I'm writing on season 4 in answer to what you were going to say. I'm really happy to be writing on Pony.
I actually
again.
have 2 follow-up questions to that. What's the difference between being like a head writer or a writer for a show and being a story editor?
Head writer and story editor it's just different terminology.
It's different terminology? Okay. And then I know we can't do spoilers for season 4, and we will get to a public QA later. We're not going to be talking about season 4 questions because she can't talk about it. However, when your favorite scene to write comes out, will you be able to tweet that it was your favorite scene?
Yeah, I could probably, yeah. And I have a lot of favorite stuff coming up.
Tweet all of it.
I will tweet like crazy because there's so much.
Message all the sites. I'm sure you know which ones they are. And
yeah.
All right. So one of the things that's happened recently this year is the comic books. Now, officially, the comic books are canon, and we've heard from IDW's side about how they've put in a lot of effort to work with the show and not break the canon of the show, and they work between seasons so that they're not affecting the future stuff. But as a writer on the show, do you look back at the comics? Do you work with them on get to see upcoming comics to make sure that you're not then, both working on something that happens to be the same topic, or how does that work out?
I haven't looked at the comics at all, and I'm guessing that Megan is aware of the comics, and so she would know what we can touch on or what they've dealt with, but I personally haven't looked at the comics yet.
And I know you had mentioned in the past that you sometimes look at different scripts between other authors, like what they're writing, and how does that work out? I mean,
as far as the other writers who write on Pony?
Yeah, you write on the Pony, and sometimes you get the scripts, but
yeah, on seasons 1 and season 2, we did get the scripts from people, and it was before the show was airing, and so it was really important, at least on season 1, since episodes weren't airing, we really needed to know what other people were writing because we couldn't go and watch it. So to really see how other people were writing the characters and make sure we were all being consistent. Once the show was on the air and we could all observe things, it was a lot easier to know that, how Applejack was, being portrayed and how Rarity was being portrayed. But at that beginning point, it was so, we were just all, because we're all freelance, and we can't go, hey, what are you doing with Rarity? What are you doing, and can't go down the hall and talk with each other, to have each other's scripts and know, be able to reference to it and see what somebody else is doing is really important.
And you mentioned Applejack, and you've written most of the Applejack episodes for season 1 and 2, including the famous I Love Lucy scene from...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. In a Friend Indeed, yes.
In Friend Indeed. She's an interesting character because she's already reached her goal. She's with her family. That's what she wants. She's not building a fashion empire, and she's not always has the next party that she has to plan for. What's it like writing for Applejack compared to some of the other characters? Like, what are some of the challenges that you face with that?
I don't find it challenging to write for Applejack. I know people say that. I think she's fun to write for because you get to write kind of her countryisms and all of that. There's such a solid nature to Applejack. And, I just like that she's really true. And yet at the same time, she's very competitive. So like in Fall Weather Friends, the competition between her and Rainbow Dash, she wants to win, but, they have such a different way of trying to win, because she's so honest, whereas Rainbow Dash will, kind of fudge things a little bit. So for me, Applejack is, a lot of, I have a lot of fun with her and getting to write her stuff, and she has her family around her, which is very different than the other characters. So Applejack just has, a different depth to her, I guess, than that you get to explore.
Cool. So Stephen King is a big proponent of, for him it's book, people who write books, but for people consuming the same media that they produce. And so I'm kind of curious to know, like you've stated before, and it's kind of common with the show that people can't observe like fan fiction or the music from the fandom until after the show's done and they're no longer working on it. But what are some of the other shows that you like take from, or not take from, but draw inspiration from or watch to see like how cartoons are amongst the other studios?
Well, my favorite cartoon that I watched was Avatar: The Last Airbender, which
I think you just scored some points on that one.
I was actually doing research when I was going to pitch episodes for Danny Phantom. So I was just watching a bunch of Danny Phantom, and the next episode, the next show that always followed was Avatar. And I completely got hooked on that show. And I started, kind of after it had already begun, after he'd, been freed from the iceberg and all that stuff. But my family and I were like, what is this about? And we went back and, caught up on it and everything. That's really the main one that I watch, and now Korra's on, and when Korra comes back, we're excited about that. Now and again, I have a 13-year-old daughter, and so she watches some regular show, and Adventure Time kind of wigs my brain out a little bit too much. I'll be like traveling along with them fine, and then it just goes, whoa, So, yeah, I try and be aware of what stuff is out there, but it's more when I have to find out about stuff, I'll sit down and I'll really get down and watch that, watch cartoons.
Well, I'm sure that those shows like a little plug as well. So. One of the things that we love about your episodes is there's a lot more music, and you actually have written a lot of the first drafts for the music, The Best Night Ever, the Smile, Smile, Smile song, and you're also happen to be pretty handy on a ukulele. And I noticed you brought your ukulele with us.
Yes.
And before I mess up saying that word again, I think we're going to ask you to pick a song to sing, and maybe we can get some people to sing along. How's that sound?
That sounds good. I don't know if the AV guys were able to do the thing. Yeah, all right. I don't know if somebody wants to come and accompany me. This is Miss Moira Jane Rogers. She's my daughter. And we're gonna play some uke for you. So this is, okay, let me give you the history on this. Some of you guys might already know the history of this song.
Warning, I don't know it very well.
Yeah, fair warning. So the history of this is that Lauren Faust, back in the day, asked me to write the theme song. And she said, hey, Amy, can you write the theme song, basing it off of the original My Little Pony tune, My Little Pony, that stuff. So I did that, and it went through all the characters, and I made a recording of it, and submitted that to Hasbro, and needless to say, that's not the theme song. But then I started a little over a year ago. I got a ukulele, and I was kind of self-taught for quite a while. And then I started taking lessons. Well, I took a class. And one of the songs I had to learn was Margaritaville. And as I was practicing Margaritaville one day, I realized that the lyrics to My Little Pony song scanned out to Margaritaville, because that's how my brain works. And so I got really excited, but I realized I needed a chorus for it. So I came up with a chorus because Margaritaville has its chorus. So this is the fruits of my crazy labor. Okay, so and in the chorus part, because bronies love to sing along, that will be projected for you if you want to sing along. And I just got tweeted something. Okay, so ready? All right, ready. My little pony, friendship is magic. Come on and let's meet our pony friends. There's Twilight Sparkle, an alicorn pony. To books and to lessons this pony tends. Friendship is magic in the town of Ponyville. Helping, learning, and getting along. For the main six, this magic isn't just tricks, hearts and hooves. These ponies are strong. Fluttershy takes care of all the sweet creatures. That pony's timid, yet she is brave. Rainbow Dash races with Pegasus passion. Too bad that pony just won't behave. Friendship is magic in the town of Ponyville. Helping, learning, and getting along. For the main six, this magic isn't just tricks, hearts and hooves. These ponies are strong. Applejack works hard, just like other ponies, putting the pony before the cart. And Rarity's beauty finds all the great treasures, making them sparkle and shine like her heart. Friendship is magic in the town of Ponyville. Helping, learning, and getting along. For the main six, this magic isn't just tricks, hearts and hooves. These ponies are strong. Keep going, I'm turning the page here. Oh crap. Pinkie Pie's laughter, here we go, is what makes her special. Her smiles shine bright just like the sun. Together these six friends are so elemental. For harmony binds them and can't be undone. Friendship is magic in the town of Ponyville.
So how long until you start moonlighting as the head of the music for the show too?
Sorry?
How long until you start moonlighting as the head musician for the show as well?
Very soon.
Okay.
Watch out, Daniel.
All right. Now, we're going to get to Q&A here. Now, we do have a few questions lined up from some of the other writers from the writing panel. Is Totally Not a Brony or Silver Quill out there? Could you raise your hand if you are? Silver, we're right up here in the front. We're going to have people come up. We're having a little bit of trouble with our wireless mics, so we're going to have everyone come up here. I'm going to have our assistant over here start picking people out, but we're going to start with 3 questions. Actually, it's going to be 4. Because I got in contact with RB-47, who does almost weekly interviews with fan fiction authors in the community. And he has written a question here for you. What is your favorite scene from the show so far, and why?
I would have to say the chimichurri chonga scene.
Little known fact, also the tastiest part of the show, too.
Yes, delicious. And I have, because it's Pinkie Pie, getting to be as Pinkie as she is, and I got to play with words. When I had that story meeting with Rob and Lauren, that their secret weapon, that the pony's secret weapon to get Applejack to cave was going to be Pinkie talking. It was just like, wow. Fun, and then I of course had to write it, and I was like, oh crap, and so I'm going, what's Pinkie going to talk about? And it could be anything. It had to be anything. And as I was drifting off to sleep, I started coming up with the chimichurri chonga, and then I started coming up with pickle barrel kumquat, and as I'm just laughing, I'm going, oh, this is going to be so funny. And, that's what I love about Pinkie, is that my goofy brain, she gets to say the goofy things that I think in my mind, and then I get to hear Andrea say them, and it's like just a little bit of heaven, so.
Fair enough. Well, we have our first person over here who's going to be Couch Crusader, who's going to ask a question.
Hi.
Is this thing on? I'm not sure this thing is on. Hello? All right, so out of all the writers on the show, your episodes tend to feature an incredible amount of non-pony diversity. So I think everyone here knows about Cranky Doodle Donkey, Amelia Mild, Gustave Legrand, and of course the Diamond Dogs. So,
Yeah.
we all know that Zecora was Lauren's idea, but of these other characters you had more of a hand in creating, what drew you to make them non-ponies instead of ponies?
It's really just, that's what I was handed in the episode. It wasn't any other reason beyond that. So yeah, I mean, Zecora, that was a given that she was going to be a zebra. Diamond Dogs, that was another one of Lauren's original ideas, and that they would be these dogs. Who else did you mention? I didn't actually write I didn't write the Griffin. That was Cindy, I think.
No, I'm talking about Mystery on the Friendship Express.
Oh,
with-
those.
with
Gustave
the
Le
eclairs.
Oh, those. That was just us, having, I mean,
I think the word you're looking for is fun.
Yeah, it was us just being really goofy in a story. It was like, we wanted to, Donut Joe we brought back because he's Donut Joe.
Also one of your characters.
And the Griffin, I don't know why we decided to make him French, but why not? He speaks fancy. Just 'cause. Deep reasons like that. I mean, Mulia Mild, we were thinking, we want a Julia Child character, and if we can make her a mule, then we can use the name. So it goes into things like that. Oh, Julia, Mulia, you just kind of play with the words and that kind of stuff. So.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Awesome. Next we have Penstrokes, who you may have heard wrote a little story called Past Sins.
Yes, that is fine. All right, Miss Amy, I'm going to give you a hypothetical. You're all alone in the Hasbro, and you have found the editing room. All your episodes lay before you in all of their rawness. And so my question to you is, if you could change one thing about your previous episode, put something back in that got cut, or take something out that you kind of like, oh, didn't like so much when it came out, what would you change?
I would absolutely put in the scene between Rainbow Dash and Derpy, where they were bucking bolts out of the clouds, and Derpy hits the town hall, where you see why this whole thing happened.
The original
The original scene, the flashback that happened. Because I think that would have just made a huge difference as to bad feelings and misunderstandings and stuff. And it was cut for time. And I understand that. It wasn't even boarded. But I would absolutely put that in there, because I think things would have gone very differently.
Derpy Hills is best!
So last from the writing panel is we have Silver Quill, who's actually the head of the writing track. So Silver Quill, take it away.
Miss Rogers,
Yes.
what is the one thing you would love to cover on the show that you can't?
Ooh.
I don't know. That's a really good question that I don't know the answer to. I'm sorry. You stumped me.
Something to take away then.
I'm sorry?
Something to take away then.
Something to take. Yes, I will take that away and mull it over. Okay.
Yep, you can answer later. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're gonna start pulling people out here in just a second. We're gonna pull one from each section up to the front to ask questions. Nothing from season 4, please. Just not gonna cover that for legal reasons. I'm curious, while we have these people coming to the front, though. You did do a lot of tweeting about this lizard in your car. Where's Dashboard Lizard?
Dashboard lizard.
And someone was, I was talking to someone about it, and they mentioned that it reminds them of Gummy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And so it's kind of led to this extra question that I didn't get in here that I hope it's okay to ask. But how does real life events and things that happen to you in real life, not necessarily world events, but things that happen to you, do they make it into episodes? Do they inspire, or do they ever cause you to decide to change something?
They can. I'm not thinking of anything specifically as far as an episode, but sure, you can certainly be inspired by life and say, hey, how about this in an episode? Yeah, I haven't.
Will Dashboard Lizard?
I might have to think about Dashboard Lizard appearing. Ooh.
So who do we have first here?
Hi, I'm Tony Genovese, aka Gary Oak, and as someone who is in university trying to get his bachelor's degree in creative writing with fiction, script writing, and editing, how does someone break into an industry such as this? Because it seems when you're in there, it's like, oh, hey, you want to write on my show? Yeah, cool, I'll write an episode for that. So how do you actually get your foot in the door, so to speak, for something like this?
Well, I mean, I started as a production assistant on first Johnny Bravo, and then I moved on to Powerpuff Girls. So actually, getting a job somewhere in the industry certainly helps. Because you have the internet now, you can, you don't necessarily have to be part of a studio in Los Angeles and that kind of thing. You can try and, get a web series up and do that kind of thing and start your own thing and see if you can get interest in that way. But yeah, getting your work out there and noticed is the way.
Yeah, not necessarily just writing, but other stuff too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Great, thank you
You
so
wrote
much.
plays initially,
Yeah.
right? Because you wanted to be an actor.
Yes, I'm trained.
Yeah.
I'm trained in acting.
And so you got lucky because you were a production assistant, and then
Mm-hmm.
she was promoting one of her plays, and
Right.
so you actually approached the head of Powerpuff Girls the same day he was going to approach you,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah, I approached Craig McCracken, Lauren Faust's husband now. He wasn't at that time. And yeah, I had posters up all over Cartoon Network saying, hey, come and see my play. And I went up to Craig the same day. Craig was going to come up to me and said, hey, will you give me a chance to write? And because I was, prepared, and that's my advice to anybody who's writing, be prepared, be the person that they can go to. And if they say, hey, do you want to try? You're the person who can say, yes, I'm ready, because that was the situation. And when he gave me that opportunity, I was ready for it. And so, right place, right time, and being ready. And it worked out.
Hi, my name is Iggy Kid, aka Dapperjack. And when I write, I run into the same problem very often, which is that I'll have a premise or an idea that I really want to pursue. I'll come up with an outline. I know exactly where I want everything to go. I know the flow I want to go with. But then when I try and write the actual scenes to get to those points, I run into a complete block, and I can't really figure out how do I get them from here to here and make it seem like they're actual people rather than, they're just trying to get to a place.
Okay. If you have it all outlined, do you have your character descriptions? You know who these characters are? And can you hear them in your head?
Sometimes, yeah.
If you really have it mapped out in Act 1, Act 2, Act 3, and you know what your, kind of your cliffhangers are at the end of those acts, just force yourself and start writing. And even if you think, oh, this dialogue stinks, you can always go back and rewrite it.
So fix it in editing?
Yeah.
All right, thank
Yeah, you can. If you don't have a first draft down, then you can't have a second draft. You have to get past that first, and then you can go and do the fixing.
And,
Right, thank you.
And if you come up with something that doesn't work, you can always go back and rewrite it.
Yeah, that's writing is rewriting.
Yes.
And I just wanted to pop in here really quickly. Everfree Northwest has an incredible track of writing panels that's going on right over there in Emerald B. We're covering lots of different aspects of storytelling, all the way from plots to just kind of getting your stuff out there and all that. So we highly encourage you to check your schedules. We have an exciting character panel coming up this afternoon for 5:30. We'll work it out, but it's something that you should definitely come to, and I hope that we'll see you there.
Hello. I'm usually refer to myself as Toad Desrock from the hit Bionicle series, which, if you don't know, I'm a big fan of. And anyway, I actually was curious. Did you ever write the episode featuring the Cutie Mark Crusaders when they were trying to be this publicist? I'm not sure what it's called, but
The one where they were journalists.
yeah, basically. But I was wondering.
I'm sorry. I have a call. I'm sorry. Hello. Oh, sorry.
You want to step away for a minute?
No. Hi. Who's this?
Hey, it's Megan.
Oh, hey.
That explains a lot.
I'm sorry. This is.
I just want to make sure that you did not tell anybody about the episode where you turned Pinkie Pie into an alicorn.
Oh. Megan, I'm on my panel right now, and I might have mentioned that. The bronies want to say hi to you, though. So I wasn't supposed to mention turning Pinkie into an alicorn?
So, look, a moon.
I'm sorry? Can you repeat that? Oh, I lost her.
Can say is, oops, she did it again.
Next year, we might just have to pull her along, right, to make sure
might.
everything goes according.
Sorry about that.
Well, I'm sure no one's recording this. It'll just be us, right?
Yeah, that's just
That's
between all
okay.
of us,
And
right?
the camera.
We're
And the
all
camera,
gonna Pinkie
too.
Pie promise, right?
Sorry.
Hope to die, hope to fly, stick a cupcake in my eye.
Thanks.
Okay.
I
So-
appreciate you guys keeping that under
Now
wraps.
she'll never know. All right.
I'm sorry, please repeat your question.
So, basically, the Cutie Mark Crusader episode where they're journalists, whatever it's called. Did you
Yeah.
have a hand in writing that?
I didn't.
Oh, dang it.
Sorry.
Yeah, I had a question about that, but sure, that's fine. Okay, if you could write for any of the princesses minus Twilight, who do you think you'd probably feel more comfortable making an entire episode around? Because I know we had one for Luna and a little bit with Princess Cadence, but which one would you feel more enlightened to? Say if you could write a song for them even, which would you be more comfortable with?
Gosh, I mean, I don't know the princesses as well. Because Cadence, she's a new princess to me, personally. I don't know, I'd like to try Celestia. Because, she's awesome. That's what I said.
Thank you very much. Let's see, we got started a little late, so if
Yeah.
folks are okay with continuing, we could take 2 more questions. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Awesome. Good, we have the next one up right here. So one more after this one.
Okay, so I asked Megan this on Twitter and she never responded to me, but
Uh-oh.
relax, children. Okay, so this is just something that occasionally keeps me up at night. Is there a graveyard anywhere in Equestria, or is there just a bunch of glue factories?
I'm sorry, is there a graveyard and what?
Is there a graveyard anywhere in Equestria, or are there just a bunch of glue factories?
Oh, that's...
I mean, because we have confirmed that glue does exist in Equestria.
Well, I think actually, hasn't the show come out saying that they don't want to deal with more adult topics like that?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, sorry.
I'm sorry.
You know what? We'll have one more question. If you can think of one that's a little bit more PG rated that Hasbro would be okay with, then we'll see if we have time for that. How about that?
Okay, then.
Hi, I'm Andre Henthorn, and I have a little sister who, her friends, they love My Little Pony: Friendship is Magic, and they're always wondering, what kind, in their personalities, what kind of, which pony are they most like, and so I just make a quiz for them, and I was wondering, in your opinion, which pony do you think you're most like?
So which pony you're most like? Is that the question?
I think I relate the most to Pinkie Pie. Yeah. Just her silliness and lightheartedness, and so yeah, Pinkie. I enjoy writing for her the most, and she likes to sing and just, be fun.
Yeah.
But thanks for asking.
Okay.
Okay, well, I think we're gonna wrap it up here because you have the normal, how can people get a hold of you, Amy?
Oh, you can get a hold of me on Twitter, at Keating Rogers. If you're not following me, please follow me. Thank you.
Excellent. Now, you also have a web page that has all of the shows you've worked on, correct?
Yep, I have, my website is amykeatingrogers.com. You can read all about me, I guess, my credits and such.
And I know I went looking for these, but I never did find out, did Jason Thiessen still think you were dead?
Not Jason Thiessen.
Oh,
Jason Thiessen knows I'm alive.
Oops.
Jason Bateman.
Jason.
I'm actually planning on serializing my Jason Bateman documentary and putting it on YouTube for free so people can see it. And my hope is to start doing that before BronyCon or around the time of BronyCon. And I'll tell you guys about that on Twitter when that's happening, or I'll tell you about it at BronyCon. But yeah, to put it into like 5 or 7 minute chunks so you can watch that and see my crazy documentary, and you will find out the answer to that.
No spoilers, right?
No spoilers, sorry.
Okay. Also, Amy's going to be here for the writing to storyboarding panel, which is in this room at 4 o'clock today. Additionally, we have 7 other writing panels here at Everfree Northwest. We also have an early documentary screening for the MLP fanfiction documentary. We have a contest, Iron Authors Contest, later on, which I believe is tomorrow, right, Silver? Yes, it's tomorrow. And then we also have tonight and tomorrow a...
Sorry.
Would you like to share with us, Amy?
Well, I was trying to listen to something subtly, but it didn't happen.
Would you like to? I think I know what this is. I think it's okay to play for all of us if you want.
No? Let me...
Let's give her a moment. Let's give her a moment.
Excuse me. Personal issue. Sorry. Okay, I think I have it. This was a request. Sorry. Okay. Let me. I just learned this like 5 minutes ago. Under the table. Sorry. Dancing on rainbows, and repeat, pink fluffy unicorns, dancing on rainbows. There you go.
Where are the unicorns? Where are they dancing? One word to describe the magical texture of their fur.
Pink fluffy unicorns dancing on rainbows. 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 Fluffy unicorns dancing on rainbows.
Welcome to Everfree Northwest. We're really glad to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. Thank you.